Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Medium's Table. I'm your host, Michelle Gardner. This podcast is your personal invitation to join me at the intersection of the everyday and the extraordinary. Together, we'll explore the magic of mediumship, share spiritual stories, and connect with fellow mediums on this incredible journey. So grab a seat, pour yourself a cuppa, and come join us at the Medium's Table, where spirits gather and stories unfold. Disclaimer, just a heads up to all our lovely followers. Our social media is a space where we share personal stories, including those of various mediums. Let's keep the vibe positive and respect each other's beliefs. Every journey is unique, and here we celebrate the diversity of experiences. I'd like to welcome to the show our amazing panel of mediums for the hot topic, and I think this may be part 3 or 4, I've lost count now, of angel encounters. Welcome to the show, mediums.
Thank you.
I love the silence. Gets me every time. There's that pause. Are you going to go? Are you going to say it? Who's going to say it first? Oh, welcome, guys. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be fun. They always are. And, we've already heard so many different experiences on angels and encounters and miracles and all sorts of things that have happened that have wowed us and amused us and got us thinking. But I don't know, am I still convinced? Because if you've watched the previous episodes, and if you haven't, why not? And I say go back and watch them because they will be in the description below. I am not a firm believer in angels. Now, that doesn't mean that I fully respect and believe that other people believe them, but I have not had any encounters of my own. So therefore, I'm like, I don't know, are they just beings? Are they just, I don't know, are they just guides or spirits? Or, I mean, who knows? I don't even have an answer to that. So I'm waiting for that one story to really drop and convince me and turn me in the other direction or not. But like I said, I love the stories and I do believe there is divine intervention. I am an absolute 100% on board with that. So without further ado, let's go around the room and get to know the mediums that we have here today. And we'll start with Julie.
Hi, Michelle. Hello, other mediums in the great wide world. I am actually a firm believer in angels, and I work primarily with angels in all the things that I do. So I do Reiki, I do mediumship and trance and cards, and all of it I connect with the angel realm because they're trustworthy and they don't have an ego.
Are you looking at me when you say that? What was that? What was that? Sorry, Christian?
Now that you mention it.
Well, and that's great. And I believe that you believe that. And I'm happy for you.
I think I just heard a meow.
Oh, dear. But anyway. Okay. Christian.
I'm a spiritual evidentiary medium and a trance medium and a tarot card reader and an ordained spiritualist minister. And I basically do a lot of things. I am starting to do more and more channeling of guides and collective consciousnesses and that sort of thing. I have, on rare occasions, channeled Michael and channeled Gabriel. And I can talk about both of those things as well.
Fascinating, interesting. And I can't wait to hear those stories. Like I said, I stop laughing, Julie. I know you're making fun of me.
I'm just learning.
Oh, I know. And all the times we practice and you're like, how did I not know this about her? Anyway, this changes everything. look, and in saying that, I don't know. It's one of those things. I love to hear the stories, and they're beautiful stories, and I believe in miracles, and I believe that people have seen angels. I just have not. So, and I am, and I will, the biggest skeptic, and I will say, seeing is believing, and that's just where I'm at. Still in the old-fashioned belief of that. But anyway, let's move on. Laura.
Hi, Michelle, and everyone else. So I'm totally pretty new at doing this, but I'll try to explain that I'm a near-death experiencer from 18 years old and went into psychiatric nursing and became a psychiatric nurse for 20 years in hospitals in Chicago, near Chicago. But last 3 years, I got more into my spirit side, and I believe in angels. I haven't visually seen them. I visually saw spirits, but I haven't visually seen an angel, but I knew when one was around. I know, and I can feel that there's an angel encounter. Especially with one of the stories I have, it's pretty obvious that it was an angel. I'm also a physical medium. I'm also a psychic evidential medium through James Bond Prague level 2, and I've done healing. I'm maker Reiki master, and let's see. Oh, and I'm going through spiritual emergency coaching to become a spiritual emergency coach. That'll be finished pretty soon. That's in order to help the adolescents mainly that go through a spiritual awakening and aren't able to cope through it, through the voices, through visions, through psychiatric, where the psychiatric society comes into effect, and mental illness and mental health care, and working with the mental health side of things. It's, I think, beneficial to have a spiritual emergency coach that can help.
Wow. I'm so glad you explained that, Laura, because I was going to ask what exactly that entailed. That's what a role to play. I would have never have even, it wouldn't have crossed my mind about that. Do you know what I mean? I think we assume all too often that, teenagers or kids have their parents around them or someone, who can talk them through that. But
Michelle, I didn't know about this until I joined afterlifeinstitute.org and took some, they have Zoom classes, and I met a woman who runs it's called Integrative Mental Health University.org. And Dr. Emma Bragdon, she is the founder, and this is the course that lets you. And when I realized that me being a psychiatric mental health certified nurse and going through all 20 years of being with psychiatric patients, I've seen first breaks before, and it's really hard for adolescents, especially, to go through something like that without having negative effects.
Yeah, because they're already finding their feet in the world, let alone having that sort of, sudden download or awakening. Wow, that's incredible, Laura. And like you say, you already had that training, all those decades of training, and you so easily slip into that role. That's brilliant. I love that. Yeah, wow. And, this is the difference that you'll be making to so many young people, who will become budding mediums or, spiritual light workers. Incredible.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I've helped a lot of people in the hospital adapt and get through their experience without having to go into restraints and being able to handle their aggression and their psychosis and their delusions. And they used to call me the ITU whisperer. That was our intensive treatment unit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's such a blessing to have you on this earth and for those patients to have you by their side at that moment. Thank you. So, oh, wow. Thank you for that service is really what I want to say. Incredible. Thank you, Laura. And I love your background. So fitting. Angels. I love it. Beautiful. All righty. So without further ado, let's get down to business. The topic, angel encounters. Julie, you are first cab off the rank. What do you have for us?
Well, like I said, I work with angels. Angels are actually the most universal of all spirits. Like all cultures have an angel, and more people believe angels. Even people who don't believe in God or religion will believe in angels. So I do work with angels because they're the highest vibration and they're trustworthy and they don't have ego, which I said before. And I have lots of stories about that. But the story I'm going to share is about my own experience when I was 19. And I had lived in Japan. I was in college. I had lived in Japan and I had come home and it was Thanksgiving weekend. And I went to visit my boyfriend and he proposed. And everything was wonderful. I was happy. And one night after we were engaged, that weekend, we were sleeping and it was like the front room of a townhouse. So I could see down the hallway from the bedroom door. And then there was like the bathroom at the end of the hallway. And I was asleep and I felt I was dreaming, of course. And somebody woke me up from a dream by touching my cheek. I physically felt the touch. And I turned towards the door and opened my eyes. And in that doorway was the biggest, brightest, most amazing light I've ever seen. Like, I have chills just even thinking about that light. And it was an angel. I call her a she because I felt like it was a she. And even though I deal with and encounter these things all the time now, when I was 19, I had come from like a haunted house where I didn't want to have anything to do with any of those things. And I couldn't understand. Her message to me was, everything's going to be okay. And of course, I was 19, I had anxiety and, there was so much going on and I was engaged, but I didn't really understand, that message, like everything's going to be okay. I turned and I woke up my fiance, who actually is now my husband, but that's another story. And he didn't see her, like she was gone that fast. And about a month later, we broke up. So I understood the message. I for a long time, I didn't even remember that encounter. Right. I knew the whole time we were going through the breakup and I didn't have contact with him after we broke up. And I knew I had the encounter, but I didn't really think about it, and then later on got involved in all the other things that I do. And angels have just always been a part of that. I do see angels when I read other people and that kind of thing, but that was the one time I have seen, a full, I mean, you would call it an apparition if it was a ghost, right? But full head to toe, brilliant light, all the colors you can imagine, this sense of a female, the words I heard inside and outside of my head. And she touched my cheek. I felt her. And in my dream, I saw her touching my cheek. So to see, when you're dreaming, you see things, right? But to feel it, and then she allowed me to see her.
Yeah. Wow. That's Yeah, that and to wake up to that would be to start with a little bit of a shock, especially at 19 years old when you've not had any sort of, encounters like this before. I mean, what a surprise.
Yes.
So when you say you see angels with people that you read for, what does that mean?
Well, I always go to angels for guidance because they don't have an ego. So like if there's a question and you ask your Uncle Joe, well, Uncle Joe would have had an opinion in life. He'll probably still give you that opinion. Like, yeah, I don't like that kid as a jerk, right? But angels will, they don't really, they want what's best for you, and their messages are also always comforting. So when I read people, I will often see their angels, and their angels will tell me. Usually, I see like a color. It's a vibration. I know by the vibration that's who they are compared to deceased loved ones. They have a different vibration, and I will tell whoever is sitting the color, which they usually resonate with. And usually those angels let me know why they're there, like what they're helping with. And they will tell me what's going on in that person's life. Generally, people have one who's been with them their entire lives, and others come and go. But that's just kind of a general thing I've experienced. I've experienced people with whole choruses. I've heard a chorus of angels. I've literally heard like the heavens open up and the singing. And
wow. So when you say, you feel it, it's like a vibration it's a vibration. Is that a feeling within you? That's what I'm just trying to sort of flesh that out for the audience.
Yes, that would be a feeling within me, right?
Yeah,
so there's the vibration of the person in front of you. And then as you feel into their energy, you may feel a deceased loved one who has a different feel, right?
Yeah.
And then the angels have a very high vibration, very comforting. Sometimes it's very strong. Like Michael is very strong, like overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, wow. That's incredible. And what an amazing gift to have to experience that on a regular basis now. And have your first encounter at 19 and all these years on, they've continued to work with you.
Right. And I didn't have a clue. I mean, you were talking about young people. I mean, I had parents, but they didn't want to talk about ghosts, and they certainly didn't want to talk about the things that I could see. And so there was that. As a therapist, I've often helped people figure that stuff out too. Like if it's a positive message, you're good. And to always intend to hear from the angels because they're trustworthy.
Yeah, yeah. Nice. I love that. And like I said, what a brilliant sight to see. And again, see, you've had that experience. You've seen that. You've felt that. You've heard. I have to say that has not happened for me. Hence why I'm like.
Well, here's the thing with angels, right? Until as you're a child, they're with you, protecting you all the time. Right. And I believe that they've come through for you before, whether you remember that or not. But in a reading, I'm not sure. But they will intervene, right? So they'll push you out of the way, keep you safe. You're going to fall down the steps. They suddenly pull you back, all the time with children. But once you pass a certain age or awareness, you have to ask for their help.
Right. Okay.
So asking for them, is how that can happen. And I encourage people to do that all the time. People will say like, well, what do I call them? You can call them whatever you want. Janice is fine. Whatever, they don't really care. I don't think.
Yeah.
But ask them to help you.
Okay. I'm going to ask. I need an encounter. I need to have this confirmed solidly.
Then we will interview you on that episode.
Exactly. That's it. Exactly.
Have you the intention to encounter angels?
I have actually. After maybe the last interview we did on angels, we did have this discussion, and we sort of said, all right, let's start setting intentions. And, I have said, I need this to happen, and it may have happened, but I'm going, but then was it really them, or was it, was it my grandmother or a spirit, that's around me?
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Sometimes angels will use something more familiar or comfortable to you to give you guidance. Like they will use someone who's passed.
Yeah.
So some people will say, "Oh, yeah, that's my grandmom. She's my guardian angel," and really, deceased loved ones don't become angels. Angels have never lived on Earth,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
But
yeah.
the angels may be having her appear in your dream to give you guidance, and her vibration would be very high because it's she's doing it at their direction or guidance or
I think I need it. I need a 19-year-old Julie experience where I wake up and one's right there in the doorway. That's what I need. I'm putting that out there. I need a 19-year-old Julie experience.
Not the whole experience, just the angel part.
Just the angel part. Yeah. Just that, apparition. Come on, let's do this. Anyway, I can see Christian shaking his head like, oh, for the love of God, how we deal with this one. Anyway. Thank you, Julie. Christian.
Well, all I have to say about that, Michelle, is that
oh no.
if when you are in real need of an angel, you will get their help.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know that you'll recognize it or stuff, but if you set the intention for them to identify themselves, I'm sure they will. But usually my experience with angels is Michael is there to help me fight for things. Gabriel is there with a lot of messages. Raphael is there for a lot of healing energy. And I haven't really had an abundance of experience with Uriel or Ariel, depending on who you refer to that angel as.
I don't want to interrupt, but yes, you have. Uriel works with mediums.
Okay, all right.
Uriel works with deceased loved
ones. Then I have. Okay. But
Julie's got a long memory, Christian. So look out.
She's funky. My most powerful encounter with Archangel Michael was after I lost my lawyer when I was suing my former employer, JP Morgan Chase Bank. And I was emotionally distraught, and I was in a bad mental state. I'd lost my lawyer because I'd gone to her office to tell her I'd applied for Social Security disability because my psychiatrist told me I should. And she was upset with that. And she basically told me that psychiatrists had no business prescribing psychotropic drugs to anyone. And, basically I had a violent PTSD outburst response in her office. And she called the police on me, and I left before the police came. I, didn't put any hands on her, but I just screamed at her and chased her around her desk. But when I got home, I was just so distraught, and I was just so depressed and so disempowered. Depression is when you have the magic wand on the dresser across from you, and it's too much work to stand up and get the magic wand and fix all your problems. Okay, that's how I describe debilitating depression. And I was sitting on the edge of my bed, and I looked up, and Archangel Michael was there. And Archangel Michael looked at me, and he basically said, I know this is going to be difficult, but I'm going to ask you to continue and fight your case, even if you have to fight it pro se without an attorney. And he also told me that if I didn't do this, I would most likely be destitute, for the rest of my life. And, but he encouraged me to fight my case pro se. And I did that. And I'm glad I did it. And I feel, that's a whole nother show that we could do. But basically, angels never demand you do anything. Angel will make a request to you, and you have the free will to, take action or not take action. Okay, but I felt blessed that he appeared to me and asked. I feel very, very strongly connected to him, especially because he is the one who fights for justice regularly. And so that was the most meaningful thing to me. And I have channeled him for people I've sat with since that time. And I channeled Gabriel as well. Not very often, usually, my channeling is like my guides or one of the people one of the usual spirits. But on occasion, if there's a need or desire to hear from an angel, from the sitter, the person I'm sitting with, they will, come through.
Yeah. So can I ask, Christian, when you said you saw Archangel Michael, what did you see? Was it a feeling, or did you actually literally see him?
I saw him objectively, with objective clairvoyance.
Yeah, right.
Angels can appear however they want. And I don't want to give away how he appeared to me, other than to say he appeared to me in a very compassionate way that totally surprised me.
And was it just a knowing that was him, or did he announce himself? Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to just sort of get down to the...
It was him. I knew it was him. It was a knowing it was him, but also, he had the Roman getup, he was...
Obvious.
He was obvious.
Okay, right, okay. See, and that's when I'm like, okay, you would be like, yeah, wow, definitely. You know what you're looking at. You know who that is. Yeah. Geez. And isn't it fantastic that he was able to give you the heads up? But for the option to be destitute, I think that's pretty motivating right there to keep going.
Well, yeah, no, it was very motivating, but that wasn't the main motivator for me. The motivator for me was an angel appeared to me and asked me to do something.
Well, yes, that.
Before or since, at least not in, maybe in another incarnation. Okay. But, and I think it was shortly after that Joan of Arc appeared to me. So I knew I was in good company. Yeah.
You're surrounded by all these, I want to say, powerful beings or light workers, whatever you want to call them, saints and angels. It's incredible. Your experiences are phenomenal. And again, Christian's episodes and Julie's will be in the description below. Do check them out because there's some pretty amazing stuff going on in their lives. But one thing I want to address and ask all of you this question, because we do talk about this as mediums, is, so Christian, you were saying you were in a very a dark place, so to speak. You were very depressed. Now, as mediums, we always say you've got to raise your vibration to meet the spirit world. So how does that work if your vibration is extremely low and he's coming in?
Well, here's the thing. Okay. And this is going into my story a little bit, but I had worked for a corporate sociopath at the bank for over 3 years. And over that period, I had been using so much psychic energy, blocking his negativity, okay, that when I was finally removed from that situation, okay, and it took about 3 weeks, okay, from the time I was packaged out. Basically, they replaced me with 2 people under the guise of a merger, and did all kinds of nasty stuff. But after I had lost my job, 3 weeks later, all that mental energy that I'd been using and psychic energy to block his negativity, I didn't have to do that. I wasn't at work anymore. So it just dropped. And in that dropping, I didn't know it at the time, but I had complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay. But in that dropping, suddenly I was fully psychically open and psychically aware and not blocking anything. So I had all these spirits coming to me. Okay. At the grocery store, bookstore, just walking around, and I was completely untrained.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah.
I didn't hear about it until I had a class with Diana Munz Chin years later, but she referred to that in her book on channeling, The Art and the Heart, as a spiritual emergency. So that was my own spiritual emergency. I don't know of a clinical definition of it, but that's what she referred to it as. And she's the one who let me know that is what happened with me. But yeah, so in answer to your question, my psychic abilities were greatly strengthened by my need to block this negative energy constantly. And then when I was removed from that, I had all this strengthened psychic awareness that, well, what do we do now?
Yeah.
But Michelle, if I can also interject, angels and other spirits can do it on their own. Mm-hmm. It's because we are trying to do it right here, right now, for a service which we then have developed, right? So most of us, all of us, I believe, have spiritual gifts. And one of the frustrations people have is like, I don't know, I get a dream and then somebody's pregnant and blah, but I can't make it happen. Right. So that's the development part where you develop a relationship with these energies and confidence in them, and then a willingness, and then you raise your vibration and you keep it high to lend that to them, but they can do it on their own.
Yeah, right.
See, and they do go where the need is, right? If they're needed,
yes,
that's where they go up.
Yeah. So. Because you do hear people who are in distress, traumatized, and angels, they talk about the angels going to see them in those moments. But, we, on the flip side, as mediums, we talk about this, hence the word medium, you're meeting in the middle. You've got to raise your energy, they lower theirs, and we meet in the middle. So I think that's a really great explanation from both of you, because the viewers and listeners out there and even other mediums are going, okay, well, hang on a minute. How is this happening then? You know what I mean? If a person's energy or vibration is low and an angel's is so high, do you know what I mean? So that perfect explanation, I think it's, we need to be discussing that, because this is educational. This is what we need to know. And and again, how it all works, the dynamics and the process of that in different situations. So, yeah. Wow. Thank you, Christian. Yeah, that was, and again, I'm learning so much from these discussions that we have, because I've never actually thought about it until Christian said that. It's like, well, hang on a minute. Here I am again. I'm myth busting. But it's good that we can share that information out there to the world, because people, may often wonder, well, how is that possible if an angel's vibration is so high that they come to these people who are, down and out, and that was a really great explanation. Thanks, guys.
Well, and hopefully Laura can speak a little bit about this. But my impression is that one of the side effects of going through great mental stress, especially when you have to block the negative energy of others, is that your own psychic, medium, mystic senses are heightened.
And it makes sense what you're saying when you've been giving it every day you go to work, you know what I mean? And suddenly you that need is no longer there to do that. Then, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Christian. Laura.
Thank you, Christian. Yes, I believe that that's true. I believe that it puts you under a certain stress where you're going to be more susceptible to getting encounters with something like an angel. So I do believe that. My experience that I recently had, I've had, I'd say 3 of them that I can really recall, but this last one was where my frequency was really high, where I met with that. So I was attending the IANS convention in Chicago, in Oak Brook, the suburb. It's a International Association for Near-Death Experiences, and it was the what year? It was the 75th year of the afterlife research. I have it written down here, afterlife research from Dr. Moody, who wrote the book Life After Life. So that's when it was written in 1975. Oh, I'm sorry, 50 year. Did I say 75? I'm not sure. 50. And my friends were both attending. I was supposed to attend, but I was going to dog sit for a friend, so I didn't attend. I was just coming as an observer because that didn't work out where she didn't need me to watch her dogs. So I went with my friends. They're both mediums. One was a speaker before their keynote speaker in the morning. The other one worked as a healer in the room that they had off to the side. So I live close by, live about half an hour away. So I was driving, but I didn't get there in time in the morning to attend her talk. She does Awakening to Spirit. That's what her talk was about. And there's a picture that my other friend took of her while she was speaking of a light hitting her directly to her heart space. There was a big flash of light, and I have the picture. I wasn't there to see it, and I'm sorry I missed it. But Stacy asked me if I would help her bring out some of her posters and various things that she used for the presentation out to the back of her car. So her car, her SUV, was parked in the parking lot. I walked with her, bringing some of the things out to help her bring out to the car. We put her things in the back of her SUV. It was a bright, sunny, clear day. All of a sudden, it started raining right where we were standing, both of us, right off to the side. And I looked around and I'm like, where's that coming from? It's clear. It's clear out. And I looked off to the side where there was another car, and I was thinking that they had thrown something out the car, like a glass of something, and it hit the concrete. And Stacy said, no, there's no one there. And there wasn't. There was no one in the car. So I said to Stacy, so where's that coming from? What just happened here? And she said, Lori, I asked for an angel to come and show me something today. And she is totally into angels, and Mary is totally into angels. We're in an angel healing group. We meet twice a month, normally on Zoom, to do healing for the entire world because we all need it. So we're considered angels in a sense. There are 5 of us. And so I said, no, they can't be. They can't be after the rain happened. It can't be. I have a picture of concrete. And then just as I said it can't be, another big splash of water hit me on the face, on the right-hand side, right in the face. It was truly amazing. And that was after Stacy said that it was an angel.
Yeah. So if you don't believe, they'll come back.
Truly amazing. They'll make their point well known. Yes.
Yeah.
True.
So does that mean I should be scared? Should I be worried that a point's going to be?
They're not. No, angels are not going to hurt anyone. Angels are there to help, protect, and guide us, just like they did with Christian.
Yeah.
They're here to help us. And if I can, I'd like to say one more thing that happened that I just thought of as we're doing this group. While I was working one day at my job with the adults and psychiatric, I was taking care. And this was the last day that I was to be working. I resigned because of an illness where I was just chronically fatigued, and there was a reason behind this. But I wasn't able to work anymore. It was my last day. There was a patient I was assigned to. He was what we would call a frequent flyer. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and he would see and hear things. I'm getting chills right now.
You okay, Laura? That's all right.
So I was assigned to give him medication. And I went into his room. I scanned his armband. I scanned the medication. I went to give it to him. I opened it. I gave it to him. He looked at me with the sweetest little smile on his face. And he said, there's the angels right behind you right now. And he said,
That's okay. Take your time.
And he said, they're here to protect you, and you're going to get through this. And don't worry about it. They want you to know that. And I looked at him and I smiled because I knew that he knew what he was talking about. And here he was spending his whole life with the medications and I don't know, but he was just the sweetest person.
Yeah, and that's so sad to know that.
As it turned out, I did make it, and I have recovered.
Yeah, that's incredible. And it's so sad to know that there are people out there being medicated when they are messengers. They're actually really seeing angels, a spirit. They've got a divine purpose. Yet the human world, the medical world, I guess you could say, calls them insane. But what a beautiful message to receive, Laura.
But I also have to mention that sometimes the people that can see these things and hear these things just don't know how to control it and think of it in negative ways. And it does affect them where they're totally exhausted and just don't know how to handle it. It's, it's a fine line. It's a really fine line.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're doing that you've done that course to help adolescents, teenagers with their awakenings, that so that they don't end up in places like that. I mean, it's so important to protect these special people.
And I would add to that, when I give readings, I frequently do meet undeveloped mediums. And one of the things I tell them is to develop, even if it's just to have control of it, like just learn so that you can have a boundary. You don't have any obligation to do anything. Right.
But then
there can be another
still
spokesperson so that you can be safe in your own human experience.
Yeah.
And then you can go on and exist in life and be a productive member of society with being able to control things around you. Yes.
Yeah. And your story, Laura, was a great example of when people receive a message, how deeply it touches them, and they know. You know what I mean? Like you still know to this day, just in that memory and retelling of that story, how real that was and how authentic that message was. I'm sure at that moment you didn't look at him and say, "Oh, he's just totally insane." You knew he was giving you a genuine message, a divine message, and and that was, I guess you could say, a divine encounter with the angelic world. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
And it just came to me just now while we were talking about this. So it was meant to be that it was expressed.
Yeah, definitely. Because some people may have had those encounters, not sure what's happening, why it's happening. It's affected them emotionally and they can't understand it. So hearing your story and hearing the stories of others helps them to understand, okay, that's what that is. That's what that was. It helps them to make sense of that, and to, I guess, how to put it into some kind of perspective where they can fully, I guess, embrace that message, fully understand what's happening, and perhaps look further into, what it is that they just experienced, because sometimes this is what projects people on a different path. So, yeah, thank you so much, Laura. Wow. Does anybody have any questions for Laura? There's amazing stories that have happened there. And again, you and Christian, Laura, have had the heads up. Oh, and Julie, all three of you got the heads up from angels that everything was going to be okay. I mean, Christian's was more, if you don't do this, this is going to happen. I mean, that was pretty wild. But yeah, just incredible. And like you say, they come at a time, for you, Julie, it was just before it happened, before you went through that separation. And again, you would have been like, that doesn't even make sense. Why is that being said? And then it unfolded. And for you, Laura and Christian, both going through a situation where those words would have changed your whole world, everything, knowing that everything was going to be okay. Phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Oh, wow, guys. Does anybody have anything else they want to share or add? It's been emotional. Let's try not to cry, Laura. Stop it.
I'm sorry.
No, don't ever apologize.
I didn't prepare to do that. Yeah.
One thing, and I had mentioned this in, I think one of the interviews that we did, one of the shows we did. I don't remember which one, but I talked about Archangel Haggael also being known as Venus or Aphrodite. And I'd spoken about there was a ceremony to invoke that archangel. And we had talked about potentially doing it. And it really needs to be done in person, not like, remotely over Zoom. But One of the things I did is I did that ceremony once. I didn't have all the materials for it, but I did it as much of it as I could on my own years ago. And she did not appear to me, but she did sing to me. And I could hear her angelic singing and blessing and everything else. And I want to redo the full ceremony the way it's supposed to be done at some point. I just haven't gotten around to it. But she shows the gift of unconditional love.
Yeah, how beautiful. Imagine doing that sort of ceremony with, a large group of spiritual people. Right. Imagine the energy and the power behind that. Phenomenal. Yeah. Well, there you go, folks. It's I'm blown away once again by, and some may call it miracles, life-saving words of wisdom, messages. And again, I really do find them amazing, truly amazing and beautiful. And especially if they can shift someone into a better place, or to understand, or to have that comfort in a dark time. I mean, wow, it really is. That's something to be, it's amazing, just amazing. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining me here today and sharing your stories and your words of wisdom and helping again to educate us, because that's what it's all about as well. Through your stories, we all learn. Now, let's go around, Julie, and can you please share where people can find you?
Okay. My website is medium-at-large.com, and I'm Medium at Large on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes.
So
excellent.
You'll see me there. Yeah.
Thank you. Christian.
The easiest way to get in touch with me is to email me at christianpsychicmedium@gmail.com. All one word, christianpsychicmedium@gmail.com.
And you also have a Facebook page?
I do have a Facebook page. Also Christian Psychic Medium.
I'm getting really good at remembering where everybody's contact details are now. Someone will forget something and I'll be like, and they can also find you. I'm looking, I can't even remember my own. Here I am. I don't even have a list. Laura, do you have somewhere where people can contact you?
You can find me on Laura Lynn on Facebook. It's Laura and then Lynn. And I'm also Gmail. It's psych, PSYCHRN for registered, and then Laura, LAURA @gmail.com.
Fantastic. And I'll put all the details in the description below so you can contact these wonderful mediums for if you want to ask them further questions or you need their services. Thank you once again, guys, and I look forward to having you back on the show again very, very soon. To view the show notes, head over to themediumstable.com.au. If you want to watch these episodes, head over to our YouTube channel, The Medium's Table Podcast.